question. What did we do when we were multiplying by twos? What was one thing we did to help us multiply by two? Lana?
Count by two.
Count by twos. So, or skip count by twos. So we're going to do that. We're going to be looking at groups of 5. So we're going to be counting by 5s. Like, if I write, wait a minute. That doesn't look good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I start here. 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, I need to work on my teacher handwriting. That was like a crazy 8 or what? It's like
two circles.
it's like a snowman. 8, 9, 10. I just want to do one thing. I'm sure there are plenty of easy ways, but you know what? Sometimes you get into the habit of something and it's hard to change. So look at, if we just read down this row, 5, 10, 15, 20. Is that counting by 5s? So then, 5, 10, 15. So who can tell me what would come here? Like, don't worry about all these. What would come underneath the 20 here? Can somebody raise their hand and tell me? Julissa? 25. And then what would come after that? Ashley? 30. Very good. Okay, so you say 25 comes next, and then 30. Somebody give me one more. Eli. 35. Now just look at these numbers. Just look at these numbers in my big rectangle. Actually, just to make it clear, I'm going to erase all the rest of these. Big French fry with numbers in it. Does anybody notice a pattern with those numbers? Anybody notice a pattern that they want to share? Ellen?
I noticed the pattern that is times, but it used to plus it too.
Oh, I see. So it's like
5 plus 5 and it's
excellent. So then 5 plus 5 plus 5 is
15.
okay. What about just looking at the numbers? Do you see any patterns?
Yes.
Yes, Rebecca.
Like there's 5 and then there's 0.
Excellent. Look at this. In the ones place, here, let me move this 5 over so that it's in the ones place. In the ones place, Rebecca says, we've got a 5 and a 0, and 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 a 5. So, okay.
And then it goes 2 5 and then
Would I ever?
1 and then it goes 3 3 5.
So that's very cool. So now that we've had practice counting by 5s, we're going to learn how to do the multiplication by 5s. So I'm going to erase this for right now. Don't forget this, everybody. Don't forget that pattern, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question about that. Anthony and Naima and Andy.
I know that. I need to see some space.
Are you adjusting your brain? Okay. See, remember this pattern. 5 and a 0, and a 5 and a 0 in the ones place, okay? I'm going to erase this. Don't forget it. Too much talking. Okay, we're going to multiply. Hey, Adam, put up one hand. Hi. You got one hand, you got 5 fingers, right? So you got 1, you got 5, 1 time. So 5 times 1 is 5. Can you put up one hand? And Julissa, can you put up one hand? So we've got 5 fingers and 5 fingers 2 times. So 5 times 2 is 5, 10, right? Look at that. 5 times 1 equals 5. 5 times 2 equals 10. All right. Naima, Ford, and Anthony, please put up your hand. One hand. One hand, one hand. We got 5 fingers 3 times. 5 times 3 is 5, 10, 15. Oh, look at that.
That's fun.
All right.
Funny. I'm funny.
15. 15. Okay.
No.
Stephanie, Andy, Eli, Rebecca, put up one hand high. And I want everybody to count with me. So we've got 5, 4 times. So 5 we've got 5 fingers 5 times. So 5 times 5 is 5. Everybody. 10, 15, 20, 25. 5 times 5 equals 25. All right. Put up one hand. 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Miss Maggie, put up one hand. So we've got 5, 6 times. So 5 times 6 is everybody count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm the counter. Do we get it? So 5 times 7. Well, okay, you know what? This is what we'll do. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go to 10, and then when we're done with that, everyone will put both hands up, and we'll count by 5s in a whole class, okay? And see how many we get. No, we won't do me because I'll be the counter. 3, 2, 1. Attention back in here. So we've gone 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. And on and on. We're on 5 times 7. Raise your hand if you can tell me 5 times 7. Raise your hand when you know this answer. I want to see if you know this answer, put your hand up. 5 times 7. If you know this answer, put your hand up. Let's hear it. Ready? 5 times 8. Put your hand up when you know the answer to this question. 5 times 8 is ready. 40. Okay, 5 times 9. Raise your hand when you can tell me the answer. But let's bring it down a notch. Not super loud, scary girls. Ready? That was a little slow. 45. And finally, let's do a whisper. That's a good idea, Ford. Raise your hand when you know the answer to this question. When you know the answer, let me see your hand. And then a whisper. Ready? 50. Now I want you to talk with your table or your partner. If you don't have a partner, talk with your table. What is when we think about counting by 2s and all the multiplication by 2s? Is this the same? What is the same and what is different about this that we're doing? And 2s. The difference and the same between 5 and 6. Who wants to share one thing that you feel like is the same as doing multiplication by 2s? The same. Ella.
Because they have. Never mind.
Never mind.
Okay.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I think because because 2 and 5 are the same because if 2 times 5 equals 10 and 5 times 2 equals 10 too.
Oh, so you're saying we did 5s, and when we do 5 times 2, we already learned that when we did 2s because we learned 2 times 5? Okay, what else is the same about multiplication with 2s and multiplication with 5s? Cassie? Hold on. Naima and Andy, I want you to listen to your classmate here. She has something to say. I asked a question. Naima? The question is, what's one thing that's the same about doing multiplication with 2s and multiplication with 5s? Yes. You can use skip counting. Cassie says you can use skip counting to help with both. What's different? Anthony?
With 2s, whatever you multiply it by whatever number, you always end up with an even number.
Ah.
If you do by 5s,
Uh-huh.
you end up with an odd number that an odd number.
Remember that? Okay, Olive, yes. Very good, thank you.
And just about the full numbers, 5, there's like 3 three numbers apart from do the same.
Right, so the 5 is 3 more than 2, and 2 is 3 less than 5. And last thing, Lana?
Well, if you count by fives, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. And when you count by twos, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Right.
11, 12, 13, 14.
Excellent. So here are two more bonus questions. I need all eyes on this board. Is 5 times 6 the same as 6 times 5?
Yes.
Is 2 times 5 the same as 5 times 2?
Yes.
Okay, so let's pretend that somebody asked me to tell them what is 4 times 5. Now, if I didn't know the skip count and I wanted to think of the answer, and I said, oh, it's 23. How do I know right away that's wrong? Remember the pattern we saw in the ones place? How do I know right away that that's wrong?
Because you counted by fives.
But I didn't count by, pretend I didn't count by 5s. Pretend I was like, oh, this is so easy. I don't even need to count by 5s. It's 23. I just know it in my head. How do I know right away by looking at this number? Just by looking at this number that
Look
it's
at the
wrong.
numbers. 5 and 4. You do 5 4 times. That was on the.
It's counting
that's
by
not
five,
even
so
close.
like 5, 10, 15, 20, and you don't, and
You
you're
put
not
an even. You put an odd number.
But Jillian's talking about what? Remember the pattern in the ones place?
Yeah, you
We
put
have
an odd
5,
number.
10, 15, 20, 25, etc. Remember the pattern? 5, 0, 5, 0, 5. What's in the ones place here?
3.
So it can never be that, right? You can only have a 5 or a 0 in the ones place when you're counting by 5s. That's a little added bonus. That's a little added bonus. Okay, now what we're gonna do finally is we're gonna do it within your oh, I'm sorry that we didn't use the whiteboards today. We will tomorrow. But now in your new textbook, please, and your math workbook, I need you to do textbook.
this?
Yes, close your workbook. Textbook, page 32. Yep, the new one, the new textbook. Page 32, number 3, number 4, and number 5 in your math workbook, in your math notebook. Sorry.